I am the Black Death, the bringer of disease. I apologize, because my voice sounds worse, but it actually doesn't hurt as bad as it did last night. The previous video on this YouTube channel, which spoke about Alexander Zhuravsky, was recorded before I went to sleep last night, and my voice was hurting bad. Like, it was pain every time I took a breath, every time I swallowed. I must have had some really bad viral infection going on whilst I did my 10K 2 nights ago in the rain and the wind. But this video, even though my voice sounds worse, it feels better. You know what I mean? Like, I took the medicine, I grabbed some fluids, I did all the things I needed to do, so now my body is recovering, but before it recovers, it's going to sound worse. At the very least, I can talk without feeling like I'm breathing fire, so that's why we are going out there and making this video. No days off in my mind. If I am capable of speaking, I am capable of making videos. So that's the kind of work ethic that has led me to not missing uploading on a day in 6 years, which is why we are going out there and talking about the New York Islanders, and one Jonathan Drouin, who had just revealed some really, what's the right word here? Discomforting, I guess, information on his time with the Montreal Canadiens. Now, we have made a number of videos talking about the New York Islanders and just what exactly their plan this offseason has accomplished. The names they acquired in the draft, the trades they made, the guys they had signed in free agency. Not just Jonathan Drouin, but Maxim Shabanov is a really nice name. There's been some really good work done here by Matthew Darche. Jonathan Drouin, as we had said, has been a very versatile offensive winger in the National Hockey League, who had 2 pretty solid seasons with the Colorado Avalanche ever since leaving the Montreal Canadiens. Like, admittedly, these numbers are not bad. 37 points in 43 games played the most recent season, 3 points in 7 games in the playoffs. Of course, you would hope for more out of a guy who is seen as a more middle to top 6 playmaking option, but even the first year he had in Colorado, 56 points in 79 games played, reunited with his buddy Nathan MacKinnon, Jonathan Drouin had himself a really good showcase of talent in Colorado. This, of course, succeeds a whole bunch of years in Montreal, where Drouin was admittedly pretty alright at the beginning, but inevitably fizzled out and got into a pretty rough spot with his health and just his overall point production ability. It wasn't there to the capacity that Canadiens fans wanted and expected. So now, we're heading over onto an article that talks about Jonathan Drouin's future. This was published on TVA Sports earlier yesterday, how Jonathan Drouin rediscovered his passion in Colorado. The piece is interesting because it dives into Drouin's thought process of being a Canadian as well, and goes over some of the negatives about that. This piece, of course, is French. I translated it to English via the Google machine, and it will be linked in the description if you want to go out there and read it yourself. But it goes out here and talks about how New York Islanders forward Jonathan Drouin believes he has rediscovered his passion for hockey over the past 2 seasons, which he spent with the Colorado Avalanche after leaving the Canadiens. In Colorado, they helped me get my game back, he explained in an interview with NHL Network on Thursday. Drouin is coming off a season marred by injuries, but was productive when he was on the ice, as evidenced by his 37 points in 43 games. Drouin then says this: "My time in Montreal was not very good for me. The coaching staff deserves a lot of credit for that, and obviously Nathan MacKinnon as well. Playing a lot of games with him over there helped me a lot. I found my passion and enthusiasm for the game again, and I hope to bring that to Long Island." So, there you go. Jonathan Drouin straight up admitting that his time in Montreal wasn't really good for him, even though he is, of course, a French-Canadian stud, former top draft pick, and a player that Montreal Canadiens fans were super stoked for ever since acquiring him in that trade for Mikhail Sergachev. Yeah, we could talk about the Montreal Canadiens trading away young defensemen for guys who inevitably wouldn't become too great. But Jonathan Drouin was one of these situations where Canadiens fans did get a glimmer of hope as to what they wanted in the first few seasons of his arrival in Montreal, but not too much after that. Now, looking ahead into the future, this is where we dive into some of the extra camaraderie that goes around here. Drouin, now 30, signed a 2-year, $8 million contract with the Islanders on July 1st. He expects to find himself like a fish in water with his new team. I really like the forward group here. Bo Horvat and Matthew Barzal are two offensive players that are good. I really like the defensive group too, even without Noah Dobson. There are also some familiar faces on the coaching staff. First, assistant coach Ray Bennett, whom he knew well in Colorado, but also a handful of Quebecers, like GM Matthew Darche and forward Anthony Duclair, a good friend of his. And then there's the head coach, a certain Patrick Waugh. Patrick coached against me often in junior. I know him a little, said Drouin. I've spoken with GM Matthew Darche, and he's looking forward to getting there and getting started, Drouin added. This is where we talk about the good destination part of it all. Drouin admits that New York and Long Island are attractive. It'll be easier for his family and friends from Quebec to come visit him there, but it's also a good place to live. Every guy I talked to loved the island, the area they live in, the restaurants, the suburbs, he had revealed. They have a brand new arena. That's very attractive too. Already, Drouin and his family have been able to get a taste of how the Islanders organization treats its players. They have class. A few days after signing, I received gifts for my children, jerseys, caps, those things. You can see they really care about their players. And that's nice to see. Obviously, you would prefer seeing NHL athletes treated well by the organizations that house them, but it is kind of intriguing how Drouin has gone into this entire, oh yeah, New York is so amazing type of thing, whilst fully acknowledging that his time in Montreal wasn't really good for him in a way too. Of course, I appreciate the honesty that is very valuable here, but Jonathan Drouin ultimately is a player who just wasn't built for the Montreal spotlight, unfortunately. And that, okay, no, I say unfortunately, that's actually okay. It's fine to not be able to handle that heating pressure of the spotlight always being shined on you, especially for a guy like Drouin, who is tasked with being one of the top dudes. He just wasn't equipped for that role in Montreal. And then, heading into the next few years, he started playing a little bit more in the shadows, not really as a top guy, but more as a supporting cast member, and that's okay. That is where Jonathan Drouin shines a lot, and hopefully it's where we will see his role take him to the near future with the New York Islanders. So, with all this in mind, I got through this video. My throat is starting to hurt a little bit, so I'm just going to go and take some more lozenges and cough medicine. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Jonathan Drouin speaking out about his time in Montreal, and what are your thoughts about his opinions on the New York Islanders. Let me know in the comments all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.